thing I wanted to put to you, John, as well, though, as a manager, just wondering what you make of the situation with Glen and Kilmacud Crokes at the moment. If you were involved, or just say if you were Malachy O'Rourke, what would you be doing?
Yeah, I have to say it's the most difficult and contentious issue that the GAA have been faced with in quite a while. I thought Malachy O'Rourke spoke very well, and I know he was speaking in a personal capacity immediately after the final whistle. And I think he understood that Watty Graham's were beaten fair and square. I think in hindsight, obviously when he went back and reviewed it, and particularly the positioning of that 16th man, we leave the 17th man out of the equation because I don't think Paul Mannion had any influence on the outcome of the game. It's a complex one. I can understand why Glen might have loved Croke Park to have intervened and taken control of the situation. And I know there's three options available to them. I have to say I'm torn. Last night I was reviewing and reading some alternative opinions than I had myself early on. I thought initially, immediately after the final, end of story, the game is over. It's totally different to what happened a number of years ago between Mayo and Dublin when Robbie Henley was forced to retake the 45. That happened during the 70-minute game scenario, and I can understand had the referee at the weekend become aware that there was 16 men on the pitch during the game, he could have very easily have allowed the 45 to be retaken. I honestly don't know. I think it'll drag on and on and on. I hear Shane Walsh was due to fly out to Australia yesterday morning. I'm not quite sure how's he gone. This thing could be replayed on St. Patrick's Day because obviously we won't have time. Obviously, they were hoping a quick solution might have been to play it before the National League game this weekend on Saturday in Croke Park. That's obviously not going to happen. But I haven't given you a clean answer. What's the right solution?
There are no clean answers, and that's the thing, you see. And it was my opinion would have been the same. We were on Monday morning. I thought it was kind of done and dusted. Then, really, I thought even after what Malachy said, but then it's almost like I don't know. The public swell of support has built up for Glen now, and it's almost like I don't know. They were in a way. I think they were kind of left with no choice but to lodge an appeal in many ways because. And I suppose it has a lot to do with the personalities involved in the club as well. Some people would look at it quite cold and calculated and say, no, the 16th man on the pitch, that's it. And then other people might say, oh, we were beaten on the day. We'll take our medicine or whatever. And it's a lot to do with the characters involved. But it's definitely been a public swell of support in the days that followed.
Well, what is highlighted again is our sideline and our fourth officials and our linesmen had become a little bit lax. There was a time when you have an incursion onto the pitch, a manager or a friend or a water boy or something back in the day, put a yard onto the pitch, there was somebody, catching you by the throat, forcing you back. I can understand it was a little bit chaotic there in the last minute or two. There was a little bit of gamesmanship, understandably, by Kilmacud trying to wind the clock down. I think a referee ordinarily allows 30 seconds for a substitute. That wasn't taken into the equation. There could have been another minute added on. Which might have influenced that 45, what the kicker might have gone for. He might have kicked it over the bar, hope maybe to win a kick out and maybe go for a draw. So there's a myriad of issues here. But what we will see, unfortunately, is you now are going to have fourth officials who are going to be absolutely enforcing the regulations and rule. And it was that way pre-COVID. I mean, the sub had to come off the pitch. The player had come off before the sub went on. That was very, very rigidly enforced. Right now, it had become a little bit lax. So I'm not apportioning blame on anyone. It was just a sequence of events here. Unfortunately for the referee, he's in the spotlight. I'm sure he's feeling very, very guilty. It was a genuine mistake. There'll be an asterisk over this All-Ireland club title anyway. Right now, I'm sure Kilmacud, where there'll be lots of guys saying, well, look, did you win it fairly? So maybe they might be anxious enough to go and have a replay and let the best team win. I don't know. It's an interesting one. It's a talking point for sure.